very easy to be an auctioneer. It's very difficult to be a great auctioneer.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Part of it is performance.
You don't want to go home empty-handed.
Part of it is confidence.
Are we bidding or not?
Fluency with numbers.
$4 million at $4,200,000. $4,500,000 over here, $4,008,000, $5 million.
An element of extroversion.
I'm selling now, unless you bid. Last chance.
You've got to amplify everything to make it entertaining.
Sold. And that, thank you very much, is a new auction record for the artists.
There's so much work that goes into it. It's a bit like a theatre production. It all comes down to one night, but actually there's been months of work prior to that that are leading to that point. I think as the auctioneer, it's a great privilege and pleasure to be up there. But the auctioneer is so dependent on everybody else around them in the room. The people who put the sales together are far more important than the auctioneer. There's no question in my mind about that. I studied French and Italian languages and literature, which I loved. Straight after university, I took a job at UBS Warburg as an equity derivatives analyst, which was a job which I didn't love quite so much. In fact, I was terrible at it. I thought there are more fun things to do with my life than a job that I don't enjoy, which is what brought me to art. I quit UBS, I got a place at the Courtauld, and it was the best decision I ever made because it's where I met my wife, and it brought me to Sothebys. I started as an intern in June 2004, and my first real sale experience at Sothebys was the pharmacy sale. I think probably my first real job was stacking the shelves of Damien Hirst's cabinets with medicine boxes. That was a phenomenally successful and exciting sale to be a part of, and I think gave me a flavour for everything that was to come afterwards. My first auction I remember very clearly was a stamps auction, partly because of my brief financial background. I was seen as somebody who was quite numerate, but it was interesting because what I hadn't appreciated about stamps is obviously they're all additions effectively. Nothing outperforms, they all achieve a price and there's nothing more than the price. So what's really important is whichever dealer in the room gets in on the right foot, because everyone's going to stop at the same level. So if they get in on the right foot, they will win it. It will get bid up and it will stop. So as an auctioneer, that's where discipline about taking bids, not from the whole room, but one person at a time, is really important.
25, 26, that's fine.
Because otherwise you're going to annoy the people who have made the effort to get there on the right foot, and then you take them off. My first evening sale was in 2015, and it was a single owner collection called Bear Witness, and it was this extraordinary collection of contemporary art and bears and skulls. He's a true collector who was just as passionate about objects and had every form of bear, wooden, ceramic, metal, and skulls. And he wanted to sell everything, and we used that as a way to sort of bring some colour to the collection. And that was the first time I took an evening sale, 2015. My second son had just been born, and I went back to work to take an auction. Never been forgiven for that. Your duty as the auctioneer is twofold in a way. One is to the room, to maintain the pace, to keep the entertainment. The last thing you want is for the room to get bored.
26 with you, Yoni. Welcome to the party.
If people are bidding slowly, I will be quite firm, especially with colleagues.
Florence, Shuni, give me a sign.
It's different if you're talking to a client in the room. If somebody's made the effort to be there and to be sat in the room.
If you're sure, sir, last chance. Selling to the phones.
But when it's with colleagues on the phone, and if they're splitting increments.
It would normally be 5.8, is that okay? That's the standard bid. 5.7 with Michelle at 5,700,000. I tried.
Then I'll be quite forceful. I will raise my voice, I will increase my speed, I will make my colleagues nervous that they're running out of time.
I need to hurry you both. And it's going to sell at $9 million to Nick Wood unless you do something about it now.
So you want to get through things quickly. But at the same time, your real responsibility is to your consignors. For you, it's just another lot. But for the person selling it, that's their lot. And they will be watching you. And it's your responsibility as an auctioneer. You're representing the seller of each object. And if you can do a good job for each of those sellers, then you're in a good place. I remember very vividly a consignor of a painting in the Contemporary Art Day sale, somebody I didn't know. I was just selling his object. I was able to get an extra bid, an extra £20,000. That £20,000 for that person made a huge difference to them. And though I didn't know who he was, he looked me up a week later, had brought me a gift to say thank you for doing such a great job. For that one person, and in a day sale there are 150 of those people, I've delivered. And that is what auctioneering really is about.
Sold, 365, thank you, Jen.
I don't have a routine. The thing I do is try and sit down quietly with a book, just run through it, run through numbers in my head. That's really just about getting the fluidity. It is harder physically than you might think. You are, for an hour or two, in control of every part of your anatomy. It's usually the end of a very long week of standing around the galleries, of late nights of entertaining, of early morning interest meetings, of not enough sleep, and your body's already physically tired. So that is how I get into the right mindset. I hope what never changes is that there will always be somebody, a man or a woman, with a gavel on a rostrum. It is an incredibly efficient way of selling things. The private sales part of our business is huge and has grown. But there's no substitute for the power of auction in a rising market. There's no substitute for auction when it comes to forcing somebody to make a decision and to have a timestamp on it when they have to make a decision by. And it's very hard to replicate that with the digital. I think we've done a brilliant job of it over the years, particularly through COVID and pivoting to online sales. But the reality is that people still want to come back and watch these things and to gasp at the prices.
Last chance, fair warning, and selling now at 225 million.
So I like to think that despite change, progress, there'll be this anachronistic concept of somebody with a gavel on a rostrum. Life will be a lot less interesting without it.